So, the third Republican debate was Wednesday, and many, and I mean many candidates were present. 11 were on the main stage. That means there were 11 people trying to fight for time to discuss their plans for the future. Even though the conversation was mostly restricted to economics, some of it did stray away from that. There was one topic that did not revolve around economics, which was the legalization of marijuana. John Kasich, governor of Ohio, was asked whether he would legalize marijuana and stated that he wouldn't because he didn't like the kind of message he gave to kids. Then he went on to brag about how good his state was doing and how much money the state had, so he didn't need to get the money that would come with the legalization of marijuana. But I find it very interesting that he says that he didn't like the message it gave to kids when there's no policies against tobacco or alcohol and their effects, but that's just my opinion. So when we did get into economics, every single candidate was against having a big government because of its strict and unwanted policies it enforced. But the weird thing is that the Republican Party does dominate Congress right now, so how is it possible that policies are even be able to pass through that the Republican Party does not approve? Interesting, huh? Boosting the economy was another major issue discussed during the debate. Marco Rubio, one of the candidates, stated he would want to bring back jobs to America and educate people at home to do the jobs that were being outsourced. This is a very smart idea, and I applaud him for doing this. But I don't think this is where the issue lies. Many companies find it much easier and cheaper to outsource their labor than to keep it in America. There's no incentive for companies to stay here, so why would they? Policies need to be discussed about how we can keep companies here instead of having them go outside of the country to find cheaper labor. Most candidates stated that they believe work visas took jobs from real Americans. Now let's discuss this. They do take jobs from real Americans, as they stated, but what if these workers are more qualified? Wouldn't it be beneficial for a country to have workers that are well taught and could teach the other workers to do just as good? Wouldn't this be beneficial to a country so that they could be just as good as any other labor force? When the candidates weren't talking about the economy, they quickly fell back and badmouthing the Democratic candidates, which to me didn't come off as very classy. And was also going against what Governor Kasich said about working with your neighbor to get something done. Now, what happens if your neighbors are Democratic? How will you work with them if you're just badmouthing them over and over again? Isn't this quite opposite of what you were saying, Governor? In the end, keeping one topic throughout the debate was probably a good idea, because this let the candidates go into much more detail about their plans, and it didn't cut them off because they wanted to change the topics. Now, I do hope that for future debates they change up the topics, because to be honest, economics can get boring after a while. Now, the moderators must keep asking those hard-hitting questions no matter what the candidates say, because this is the way that they will get the most detail out of these candidates. Did you enjoy this video? Then click on the screen and watch the previous episode, Journey to the Oval Office, where we discuss the Democratic debate in much more detail.